All right, y'all. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Is this thing going? We have got some shit to talk about tonight. I mean, I've heard some things before, but nothing quite like this. I think it's becoming the talk of Peoria, and we're gonna talk about it. Honestly, that's why it would be really hard for me to get in a rap battle because in a rap battle, which this is about a rap battle that happened yesterday, things, secrets can be exposed. Because a good rap battle, someone would do their research on you, and the verses that they put down would be about you, specifically about you. So this rap battle happened yesterday, and I was a DJ. Now I'm not let me put this out here first. I'm not the type of person that go around and try to spread things or whatever like that. That's not who I am. But these things, secrets came out in a rap battle yesterday, and we're gonna talk about it. Honestly, the guy who is being referenced in this, I guess you can call it a diss. Yeah, you can call it a diss. The guy that's being referenced in this diss, he was doing very good in the rap battle. I thought like after his verse and everybody was ooh ah. I'm talking about the first verse he did, like he murdered the guy on the rap battle, just murdered him. You know, and I thought it was over. It was cool. Then he came back, which I thought was kind of unusual, but I guess this happens. I'm learning the rap battle, the rap game as I do more and more DJing for it. So I'm getting exposed to the rap battle world, if you will. So one of the things that happened yesterday was this guy was rapping. I'm not gonna say his name because, like I said, I don't want to be messy, but I'm sure most people either know about it or heard about it because it's being talked about. There's being posts made about it, and so that's what made me talk about it because there are posts out there about it. And when I heard it, I sat back and I thought, I was like, that's some shit. So the next time he went on, he rapped against uh, Jason, which we call Dever. I don't know why I said his name, but I mean, everybody know he was the one that spit the verse. I got to give him credit where credit is due. But as he was rapping, he said one of his verses was like 300 bodies in a year. What the fuck was you going through? And everybody was like, "Oh, you know what I'm saying?" It didn't even take long for everybody to understand what he was talking about. Like he basically was reading this dude's life. He was basically reading this dude's life, and one of the things, like I said, the bar was 300 bodies in a year. What was you going through? And that's what we want to talk about today, because I know, like, a lot of times we look at females, and some guys be like, if a female has more than maybe 10 bodies, a few bodies, but maybe more than 10 bodies, like, I ain't gonna mess with her. I'm not gonna fuck with her. So that's on his own. How many bodies you think is too many bodies for a female? I know some guys out there are picky. They don't like a female a lot of bodies. But this particular guy claimed that he had 300 bodies in a year. And that has to be something. That has to be something has to be going on. And that's what he pointed out. Like something is going on. Something in you or something you're going through is not right. That's a little off. You know, to try to run through that many women. Matter of fact, it's only 265 days in a year. So some of them females you had to be fucking like two females in one day. Yeah, you had to be. You had to be fucking 200. You had to be fucking two females in one day because 265 days equal a year. And you was when you ran through 300 females. That's a lot of females, especially in Peoria. Like we really got to be careful out here, because it's a lot of stuff going on. But to be with 300 women in 1 year is a lot of women. And I think I'm not sure, but I heard that he called himself a slut or a male slut or something like that. You know, but that's crazy. I mean, I don't even see that something to really brag about. But the thing is, my question is, and the question that was posed in the rap is, what were you going through? You know, that has to be some type of. It's not even insecurity at this point. It may be a touch of insecurity, but that has to be some type of depression that you're going through to sleep with that many women in 1 year. Undiagnosed depression that you're not ready to deal with yet. You know, so me personally, and the reason why I bring that up, because me personally, I'm dealing with some issues or whatever like that, but I decided to go get help with my issues. Some people do drugs, but this particular guy, I guess his cup of tea was to have sex as much as possible. I mean, I wonder if that worked for him. Lots of time it doesn't work for you because, after 10, 15, 20, if it ain't working for you after that many, it ain't working for you. It seems like, he was on a mission to conquer as many females as possible, which there has to be something underlying there. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that's too many females to be with in 1 year for one guy? What if he was popular? There's a lot of guys out there who are popular and they get a lot of females. I understand that. I was one of them. You know what I'm saying? In my day, but I never reached that amount of females in 1 year. That's crazy. But it was put out there. You know what I'm saying? And that also goes to show that a lot of people in Peoria are, sexing and maybe sexing on the same guy, fucking the same guy. Or know what you call it? You call it taking the same guy down. A lot of females are taking the same guy down. This can't be just like one off. It has to be something that is uh, done on a regular, and people are passing people around on a regular basis because that's a lot of females. Um, and I wonder if he ever got his issue dealt with. Is he still running through females like that? Working at a spot that he's working at, I'm sure he comes across a lot of females that are, saying drinking or whatever, saying because they in that club setting. And I wonder if he ever got any help for that. If he ever sat down and talked to someone. 9 times out of 10, he has 9 times out of 10. It's still an ongoing thing. But my advice to him would be to try to figure out where your unhappiness is coming from. Because you playing Russian roulette at this point. You know, but I understand the temptation is there. It's there. If you're around a lot of beautiful women, and just my time being at that location, I was even texting like, "Damn, where you come from? Damn!" Like I seen females I didn't even know was in Peoria. But I don't go down to that club a lot. I'm usually DJing another club, so I don't go down to that club a lot. But going to that club, it's a lot of beautiful females, thick in all the right places, type females. You know what I'm saying? And unlike the club that I'm at, you see a lot of it's a lot of females, but they younger, the ones that are maybe getting themselves together. They start a job maybe like 5 years, 2, 3 years. So they starting to build some type of wealth or whatever. But the females at this club, you can definitely tell that they own their shit. They got, they've been at their job 5, 10 years, and they climbing the ladder, so to speak. You know, so that's very tempting, uh, especially you being around all those females. But sex isn't going to make you feel whole. Obviously, it's not, because if you have to be with that many females to feel whole, then that just goes to show you sex is not going to make you whole. He's searching for something. I don't know what it is, but he's searching for something he just hasn't found yet, and he's not going to find it in a female. I almost think like you'll be better off just finding one female, being with her, and trying to discover what love is, if that's even possible anymore. Because nowadays, and I know that females, they don't want to be in a relationship. They don't want to be with somebody. Uh, Most of them want to be Miss Independent. They don't want to be with somebody locked down like that. Is what I'm trying to say. So that may not even be a thing today, but I mean, there's still people getting married like that. But it just blows my mind. And that verse that it was like the death blow verse, first of all. And then it's got people talking like that's a lot of females to want to be with in a year, especially, around here, because that I'm not saying that, God forbid he has anything, not saying that, but like, are you going to get checked out? That'd be my next question. Are you going to get checked out, or are you just freewheeling it? You know what I'm saying? What, those are questions that may need to be asked. I know a lot of guys don't like to go to the doctor, or like to go see if they have something. Like I said, I'm not putting it out there that anybody has anybody has anything, but you have to be the luckiest guy that I know if you not, dealing with something. And like I said, that was in maybe a year or 2 year past. So I can't see you coming from a year like that and just saying, you know what, hey, I'm being with too many women, I need to slow down. So that's my thing. Is it ongoing? Is it still like it's still out? Is it still like you're out there trying to sleep with as many women as you can to fulfill what you're never gonna fulfill from that? Does that make sense? Somebody need to talk to brother and be like, yo, let's go get counseling. Let's do something, because you're trying to fulfill something that you're probably never gonna reach. You're never gonna fulfill that. I don't even know stars, and I don't know any stars personally, but I never heard a star come out and say, "Yo, I've been with like 300 women in 1 year." You know, and it's not that they can't, but you gotta be cautious. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. Like, everybody out here is not clean. Everybody out here is not the one you want to go and have unprotected sex with. Especially nowadays where women are sleeping with guys like guys used to sleep with women. They out here got 5, 6 partners. So if something did happen or something did get out there, y'all all passing it around. Even if you look at like spirits, as they say, if you sleep with someone, you're leaving your spirit with them. So even if you're talking about like spirits or whatever like that, y'all all passing that around. But that just goes and it opens up my eyes to how Peoria is, and how guys are looking at this situation. Obviously, how, you know the how the sex game is around here, that everybody is really sleeping with everybody. And then I've heard that, like, when females be like they don't want a man, or I don't need no man, that's almost like they're keeping their options open, and just in case of somebody that they want to fuck or they want to be with. If I'm wrong on that, let me know. But I know some females say they want to get themselves together. They want to make sure that they, this and that, or they don't want to be hurt by one guy. But that also gives you the ability to keep your options open, right? Just in case somebody else comes along that you like, you want to be able to talk to them too. It's got to be a little bit of that in there too. I mean, let's not be, I'm not going to be naive. You keep your options open. That's one thing that always concern me. Is like, I know guys be out here and be like they don't want females with a lot of bodies, but guys are trying to sleep with females, as many females as they can. So how can you expect these females not to have bodies if, you know what I'm saying, you're not out here fucking them? I mean, are they supposed to drop from the sky? I don't understand. And how can you really tell how many? She can tell you how many bodies she got, but like Drake said in one of them songs, you got to subtract that by, you got to add 5 or 10 to that, because there's some females, like, if they feel like the sex wasn't worth it, that doesn't count as a body. I think even Megan Thee Stallion said that if it wasn't hitting, it don't count. So some females, you don't know how many bodies they had. And I'm not just, this is not about females, so I'm not getting down on females, but because there definitely wasn't a female rapper who it was directed to, but obviously he's sleeping with females. 301 year. That's a lot. That's a lot. So my advice to the young man would be to try to find yourself. Just playing Russian roulette, that ain't going. It's not, obviously it's not working. It hasn't worked now. It's not going to work. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you just got a thirst for that. Just to have. I was at the poetry jam the other night. I call it poetry jam. I don't know what it's called, but poetry on the first Thursday and the 20th. And one of these there, we was doing Central nights. One of the ladies there was saying that she's using poetry to get her emotions out because she's a sex addict, and going through therapy and things like that. This was one of the ways she can get those feelings and emotions out without actually acting on it. But some people are sex addicts. Some people gotta have as much, like Diddy. Diddy was a sex addict. I don't understand how he could just go through that many people, whether it's male, female, whatever, the freak off with like sex for days. Like me, I'm like 30 minutes, and I'm like, don't bother me for a day or two. But some people gotta have it all the time, and you gotta just I'm trying to understand what is going on with someone that to where it's got to be something that happens all the time. Because like I said, if you do the math, 300 people, you got 265 days in a year. Some people, some of those times are either uh, menage a trois, a handful of them was a good handful of them, because you got, so you got like 48 females, something like that, 45 to 48 females that either were doubled up, like 2 in a day, or a menage a trois. But then the other thing is to keep track. How did you keep them? Okay, I got 1, I got 2, I did 2, I got 3. Are you keeping account? Like, that's some, what do you call that? Cereal. That's some cereal sex. And I ain't talking about the cereal you eat. That's a cereal sex, because you're keeping count of how many bodies you have. and is holding it up like a trophy. I guess the last thing that I want to say before I get out of here, if you had 300 in a year, how many have you had in a lifetime? I'm gonna say that again. If you had 300 in a year, how many have you had in a lifetime? Are you pushing 1,000? Are you pushing 2,000? Because that's 1 year, and you, maybe I would say in your 30s. If you did that in 1 year, are you pushing 2,000 females or more? Are a majority of them from around Peoria? Because somebody ain't talking. I didn't know. Somebody is not talking. Some females is like, yo, I did that just to kind of see what it's like. Ooh, ooh, we ain't gonna tell nobody. Somebody on the hush hush, and I'm not trying to put no secrets out there, but somebody's on the hush hush. Like, that's just my little yay or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody's down for it. There's a lot of people down for it. 300 females are down for it. So we're gonna leave it at that. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. Whew, that's a lot of females. That's all I can say. That just blew my mind. It really fucking blew my mind. You'll probably be hearing about more about it. I think there's a post about it. I should have went and put that post up there, but I'll probably come back and talk more about this later because that's a lot. All right, y'all. I'm out. My name is Johnny, and this is Live with Johnny. Thank you for watching.